strike first. Goes after the first one, drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. Drive. It's tied. Corey Seager smashes the ball. Down line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field. Way back there. Corey Seager does it again. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live. The last one coming at you in the ninth inning. The last one, of course, meaning the last game of the Texas Rangers regular season in 2024. And we are bringing you a little play-by-play in the ninth inning. The Rangers currently lead this one 8-0. And the Rangers have second and third right now in the top of the ninth with 2 outs with Leody Taveras up to bat. Looks like Leody is in a 1-0 count currently. We'll bring you a little play-by-play. Get everybody in TikTok into the game as well. What's up to everybody? It's going to be a good one. Good to see the Rangers finishing out 2024 on a good note. Leody grounds out to shortstop here, and the game is going to go to the bottom of the ninth inning. We're privileged to bring you the play-by-play as the Rangers look to close out 2024 with a series sweep of the Los Angeles Angels. It's been a fun game today. So you had peak Nate Eovaldi, and you had Dustin Harris, rookie Dustin Harris, getting the call up about, a week ago or so with 3 RBI on the day. Got to be happy for him. Dustin Harris hitting a 2 RBI double, a solo shot as well to add on. Fun day to be a Rangers fan after a not-so-fun 2024 collectively as a whole. But you know what? We are going to be positively looking forward to 2025. And again, thankful the Rangers finished this season on a good note. We'll see what happens here. We're going to get into everything in just a little bit. But of course, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, putting an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during baseball season. We appreciate all of y'all tuning in to everything Rangers here on the channel. A lot of content out there. Appreciate y'all making Right on Rangers your first stop. Let me get to some comments here. Colton, what's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that. Go Rangers indeed. Means a lot, buddy. Have a great rest of your Sunday, or feel free to hang out for a little bit. Yeah, Tristan, I think you're right on this one. We may have gotten hot a little too late. Rangers did end up winning a lot of games at the end of the season. Look, I think they won something like 6 or 7 of their last 9 or 10 series. Look, winning 60% of your series is going to go a long way. Winning 60% of your games is going to go a long way in a 162-game season. Rangers, I think, got hot a little too late. Of course, injury-plagued Corey Seager, season-ending surgery. Adolis Garcia coming down with the injury yesterday. Fun to see this Rangers lineup. And I mean this in game 162, this Rangers lineup come through with, 8 or 9 runs in this one? Absolutely. Natalie, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. By the way, Kevin Pillar just lined out to Wyatt Langford. There's 1 out in this ninth inning, 2 more outs to go, and hopefully the Rangers will end 2024 on a positive note. Robertson out to finish the Rangers season. You got to love that. David Robertson out to close the Rangers in 2024, out to close out the Angels, and he's going to do a second out here. Brandon Drury popping out to the catcher, Jonah Heim, and there are quickly 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Love seeing David Robertson out there right now. Just love it. David Robertson has been so good for Texas down the stretch. I am thankful that Bochy decides to have him close this one out today. And it looks like Drury, after him, Angels are going to be sending Tice to the plate. The catcher, 1 for 3 on the day, strike one on a foul ball. Dustin Harris, by the way, huge day for him. I don't know if you can really base a lot of decisions off of one game, but I think it's fair to say they have got to give him a good look in spring training. He had a great season in AAA. I think you've got to give Dustin Harris a shot in spring training. I mean, roster invite to spring training at minimum. I don't want to overreact to one game from Harris. Called strike two, by the way. Beautiful knuckle curve on the outside corner. I mean, couldn't have been painted more perfectly there. Tice is going to take a timeout here on an 0-2 count. Angels down to their final strike of 2024. Rangers looking to seal an 8-0 victory here. Welcome to everybody on TikTok. Appreciate all y'all tuning in today. We are trying to close out this Texas Rangers season. It's not been a great year collectively, but it has been a great series for the Rangers out in Anaheim, especially last night. I did not go live last night. I wish I would have. Was feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday, but the Rangers, their biggest comeback of the season last night, they were down 6 runs at one point, scored 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning to take a 9-8 victory. That was an epic game last night. I know it ends up being pretty meaningless with the Rangers not going anywhere in October, but look, a 4-run 9th inning, you just can't beat that. You really can't. Of course, Jonathan Ornelas with the big hit to really spark things there in the 9th. The throwing error allows Nate Lowe to score the go-ahead run, and then Kirby Yates slams the door shut. Right now, by the way, we have got a 2-2 count to Tice. David Robertson looking to send the Angels fans home unhappy here. And it looks like we're going to have a full count. Knuckle curve in the dirt. Could not quite get Tice to bite on that one. So we'll see what happens if David Robertson can end this one 1-2-3 clean inning. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun over the weekend here, closing out the Rangers season with y'all. And on a good note, too, Rangers look to finish 78-84, 6 games under 500. This team really could have finished a lot more positively and made things a lot more interesting. There were some games that the Rangers blew in this season. You look back on, I think a few come to mind for me. We're going to focus mainly on the positives today, but you think about the Colorado series way back in May or June that the Rangers got swept in. I mean, there's just little games like that I go back and forth about constantly. Matt Tice is going to walk, by the way. Strike one to Campero. So Angels still alive, 8-0, but the Angels still alive here. Strike one to Campero, though. Runner on first base at the moment. Rangers had a lot of games that got away this year. I mean, I'm not saying that they make the playoffs, but I am saying it could have been a lot more interesting late. The injuries, the underperformances, the regression from 2024. We all know the story at this point. But we are going to focus on the good stuff today. Yes, we are going to talk about the tough stuff as well. This could be some Rangers players' last game in a Rangers uniform. Jose Leclerc. Could it be Jose Leclerc's last game in a Rangers uniform? Leclerc with an outstanding game today and really an outstanding finish to 2024. Clark, what's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Go Rangers. We'll keep on going here with comments. I'll make sure that I get to everybody for the most part. Everybody of substance, I should say. Y'all know we get a lot of nonsense in the chat sometimes, but I'll make sure everybody of substance, every comment, we get to it before this one is over with. Gonna have some fun here on the last Rangers Live of the regular season here. All y'all know we're going to be doing some Rangers Lives in the offseason once a week, or we'll do some emergency podcasts. Rangers make a big signing, big trade, big news. We'll go live if it's not a Wednesday, but we're going to plan on a weekly Wednesday show here. Should be a great time. Looks like this one is going to continue to stay interesting here. So Marcus Semien makes a fielding error out at second base. You're going to have to watch the replay on that one, but Unfortunately, they're second and third now. David Robertson having to pitch a little bit longer than needed here. Come on now, Texas. We don't need to do a slow bleed here. Let's just go ahead, rip this Band-Aid off, and let's get 2024 under wraps, please. 1-1 count. Looks like 1-2 now on a foul ball. We've got Caveras up at the bat right now, or Cavadas, however you say it. Angels have just got a roster of no-namers right now, a lineup of absolute no-namers. Taylor Ward, let's see, Pilar, Ohapi isn't even playing today. Look, it's pretty much Taylor Ward and Kevin Pilar, maybe Brandon Drury, and a bunch of nobodies. I mean, look, I'm sure to the average casual fan, the Rangers lineup looks a little thin as well. So, look, I'm not trying to make too much of what the Angels got going on considering what the Rangers do. But nevertheless, pretty weak lineup here. Nate Eovaldi able to dominate them for 7 innings. Shutout ball here. We'll see what happens here. David Robertson trying to close this one out. He's got 2 strikes. It's a 2-2 count on Cavadas. We will see if he can close this one out here, and we'll continue to give you a little post-game, in-game analysis here. Foul ball again. Cavadas making Robertson work. Robertson at 18 pitches in this inning. Runners on second and third at the moment. Come on, let's keep that clean sheet right now. Come on. Let's keep that shutout. We don't need to give up 2 runs to the lowly Angels right now. Come on, Robertson. Let's get this one done. We also are going to be talking, and it looks like, okay, swing and strike on a slider. The 2024 season is officially in the books. David Robertson with the filthy slider right on the corner gets Nico Cavadas swinging. And that is going to be it for 2024 for Texas Rangers baseball, y'all. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to break down this game for you here in just a little bit. Look, wish the Rangers could have finished a little bit more positively in terms of the win-loss record. But great season overall with some things to work and look forward to in 2025. I say great season because I had a lot of fun this season doing this with you guys. Look, obviously it could have been a lot more fun, but I had a blast hanging out with all you guys this year, going live after nearly every Rangers game with a few exceptions here and there. It was truly a fun season for me. Yeah, it had its lows, it had its valleys, but we had a lot of fun moments here on the show. And we're just getting started here at Right On Rangers. We really are. So we got a great off-season show planned for you guys every Wednesday, going live, talking Rangers, hot stove, transactions, trades, free agent pickups, rumors, all that kind of stuff. And we have a few fun segments planned as well that we'll go through. You'll just have to wait and see for those ones. But I'm really excited. We're going to put a little more emphasis on football now that baseball, at least for the Rangers, has come to a close. Y'all know we talk a little Longhorns. We talk a little Cowboys. And then when basketball gets going, we'll talk some Dallas Mavericks as well. So basically all of the DFW sports minus like SMU, and the Dallas Stars are a team that I enjoy watching, but not a team we cover exclusively here on the channel. But of course, if y'all want to talk a little hockey on the show from time to time, you know I don't mind. We did it last year during the playoffs. We can do it again this year. But I'm excited for next year. 2025, I think, is going to be a really good year for the Rangers. Even if they were to make no free agent signings, which I wouldn't love, I would love still to see some of these young guys get some opportunities. Dustin Harris today, 2 out. I believe it was 2 outs. Might not have been. Nevertheless, a 2 RBI double and a solo home run. 3 RBI. What a day for Dustin Harris. What a day. Love what I saw from him in the minor leagues this year. Is he going to get a shot next year to be that 4th, 5th outfielder? I sure hope so. Dustin Harris, incredible game today. I really wish the Rangers would have gone to him sooner. We were too busy giving ABs to Justin Foscue, who hit a robust 050, .050 to be more specific on the season. Look, I feel like Dustin Harris could have been hitting all September. And I know it's a small sample size with Harris, but look, Foscue, I think, is he still searching? I don't know if he is still searching for that first home run or not. But nevertheless, Justin Foscue, I feel, got way too many at-bats, way too many ABs before they finally decided to throw Harris in there at the DH spot. Foscue, no home runs, 1 RBI. So Dustin Harris tripled Foscue's RBI output in 1 game, 1 at-bat. And we've got Foscue again, no homers, only 2 hits on the season and 42 at-bats. Really perplexing to me why they allowed Foscue to get so many ABs and struggle so much when they could have had Harris come up and really make a difference, I think, at any point, more so than Justin Foscue did. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that might be a tough question that's needed. Not today, but in the exit interviews, I think you asked the question, Poach, why did we wait so long on Harris? See what he says, right? Or Chris Young, see why. Why did we wait so long on Dustin Harris? Dude comes up and rakes in his first official start. I know he got the start, a night or 2 ago, but was benched. Look, I really don't know all the moves that got made at the end of the year. There were some I liked. There were some that were perplexing to me. But nevertheless, the season in September had already been decided. We can nitpick these moves for fun all day long, but I really do hope Dustin Harris gets a little bit more of a fair shake in spring training, perhaps makes the opening day roster. I don't know. I think Harris would have to have a Wyatt Langford-esque spring training. You remember 2024 spring training for Wyatt Langford, 5-6 home runs, 5+ homers for sure. And it was just hard to not have Wyatt Langford on the opening day roster. I do think that Dustin Harris would have to have a similar spring training in 25 in order to make opening day. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am encouraged by what I've seen from Harris in AAA this last year. And I think you have to be encouraged and excited what you saw from him today. Vortex Vibes, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I agree. It's a disappointing season as a whole. Look, I had a lot of fun with you guys shooting the breeze on the channel, all things Rangers. But it was a disappointing season as a whole. If you're talking about wins, losses, it's good that it's come to an end. It's good that it's come to an end. And I'm glad that the Rangers are able to finish on a positive note. But if we're being completely honest, the Rangers should have at least been in the postseason this year. To not make the postseason at all after winning a World Series championship, it's disappointing. There's no way to sugarcoat it. And I say, even regardless of the injuries, the Rangers could have found a way to make a wild card spot. They just had too much regression from key players last year. And I do think that this is a pod where you focus on moving forward into 2025. Yes, that includes some tough decisions, letting some players go. But we've talked enough about the regression, the underperformance from guys like Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, all that. We've talked about it, talked it to death. We will have to bring it back up as we talk about moves that the Rangers should make moving forward here. But I don't think we need to belabor any of those points. We know. And we have to make sure, I think, that doesn't happen again. And a big way you do that is you inject some new life into the organization, either through the minor league guys like Harris, or you go sign some players. You go sign some guys as legitimate guys to make the roster and contribute to it, not just bench players for depth, but you go sign a guy that can play in the starting lineup every day. You go sign a guy that is going to be able to compete for playing time with Adolis Garcia, with Evan Carter. I don't think Wyatt Langford's going to be a guy that is going to be competing for any playing time. Evan Carter, I think with his bad season in 2024, yes, there was the injury, but we got to be honest about Carter. Evan Carter was 0 for 18. 0 for 18 before going out with the injury. So I'm not really convinced that Evan Carter is going to be an everyday player in 2025. I think Evan Carter is going to have to prove it a little bit Maybe they'll surprise us and they'll come out early and announce Evan Carter as the guy, the center fielder. But something tells me they're going to ease Evan Carter back into it, and they're probably not going to make him an everyday player right out the gate. Look, I would like him to play every day. I think with a top prospect like him, you should play every day. But the Rangers, I'm not so sure based on how they used him and utilized him in the middle of 2024 and in early 2024. But I think Harris has got to be a guy that you consider, definitely a guy you invite to spring training. But I think that the Rangers have to make sure that they don't fall into the same trap, into the same bad decision-making that they did this year, which is they put a little bit too much emphasis on the rookies. They expected Wyatt Langford to be a middle-of-the-order guy right out the chute, or at least a heart-of-the-order guy. They thought Evan Carter was going to be repeating his performance in October in 2023. It didn't happen. Those were two really big gambles. You could have gone out and signed some outfielders. There were a number of guys available. They decided to go with Travis Jankowski re-sign, and later they would trade for Robbie Grossman. It didn't work out. It was a terrible gamble. That was a big reason why the Rangers didn't make it back to the playoffs. I will go back to that frequently. You gambled on Wyatt Langford and on Evan Carter to come out of the gate, to come out the opening bell swinging, knockout punches, and it didn't happen. Wyatt Langford had a great ending to the 2024 season, so I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Don't take this the wrong way. Wyatt Langford has a lot of promise, and I love what I'm seeing from him. I love what I'm seeing from Wyatt. But I think we can all be real. He struggled at the beginning of 2024. He struggled greatly. And he got injured. And then after the injury, you saw things pick up for Wyatt. But out of the gate, Wyatt was not a great player. He was a very average, mediocre player for us. Wasn't hitting home runs. And the Rangers expected him to come out swinging. And he didn't. And the slow start was difficult. You had the Astros and you had the Mariners kicking the can down the road. The Astros were like 10 games under 500 in May. And the Rangers just couldn't take advantage. That was a big reason why this season didn't go a little bit better, is you had just so many slow starts. The Josh Young injury didn't help, but I think the Rangers would be wise. Don't count on the same guys in 2025. Don't count on Adolis Garcia to have 100 RBI next year. Hope that he does. Get in the lab and try and fix whatever went wrong this year. But I absolutely am not counting on anybody to bounce back. I'm not saying get rid of them or they need to be cut, but I'm not going with the same guys next year. I'm injecting new life, whether through free agency, trade, or through the minor league system. Dustin Harris, sure. It can't be worse than what we saw at times this year. There's a few other guys we got to talk about. John, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, bud. Yep, Harris shows promise, no doubt. Give him the spring training invite. Let's see if he can vie for that 4th, 5th outfielder spot, 100%. Let's see what happens. I do think Wyatt could be potentially, at minimum, I think Wyatt is a 25-25 guy next year. Could he be a 30-30 guy? 30 homers, 30 steals? I think it's possible. We'll see what happens. I want to see Wyatt fast start next year. I know it's easier said than done. I want to see a fast start next year from Wyatt. Come out that opening bell swinging, knockout punches. That's what I want to see. I'll keep going here. Yeah, John, you said it well. Sure would have been nice to have this offense 2 to 3 months ago in the dog days of summer in June and July when the Rangers were scuffling. You know what? I shouldn't say July because the Rangers were like 2 games out of first place before the All-Star break. It was really the end of July and August that they completely soiled the bed. I mean, that is what it is. The Rangers were like 2 games out of first place going into the All-Star break and then completely soiled the bed down the stretch. It is what it is. This offense would have been great a couple months ago, though, no doubt. Yeah, Nate Lowe. Look, let's look at Nate's final stats in 2024. There's a few guys I want to do this with, and we're going to go through box score review to get it done anyways. Nate Lowe finishes with what I would say is a respectable 265 batting average. 265, respectable. 16 homers, not ideal for a first baseman. 70 RBIs, 69 to be exact, but we'll call it 70. We'll round up here, be a little more generous to Nate. 360 OBP. That is, I think, very good. A 360 OBP, 762 OPS, but the OBP 360, very, very good. Nate, to finish out the last couple of weeks, look, in the last week, 308, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Last 15 games. Actually, let's look at the last 30 for him. Nate Lowe, over his last month, 327, 6 homers, 21 RBI, 16 walks, 26 strikeouts. That last month, 425 OBP in Nate Lowe's last month. I agree. I mean, you really couldn't have said it better, Jekyll and Hyde. Look, I don't know if Nate Lowe did enough to retain the first base position. I tend to think that he did, and that the Rangers will go with Nate Lowe next year. And really, I don't know who you would go out and get that'd be a better option. Yeah, you could go get Pete Alonso, but can you afford him? Are the Rangers even going to try? I don't really know if there's a better first base option than Nate Lowe right now. You get Gold Glove defense, and I think you just hope that more of a power stroke develops. Look, that is my honest take. Would I mind if the Rangers went out and got a power first baseman? Would I be like totally upset and just like beside myself if they got rid of Nate Lowe? No, I wouldn't. I'd be sad because I love Nate Lowe and I think he's a great guy in the clubhouse, a great teammate. Would I be totally peeved and just disgusted with the organization? No. Because look, Nate has not had that 25, 30 home run season where he knocks on the door of 100 RBI. He just hasn't had it yet. And look, if you look at his career, 82 RBI in 2023 was the season high. And Nate Lowe has been pretty consistent. Look, 260, he's finished with a 260s batting average 3 of the last 4 years. 2022, the year before the World Series, was the anomaly where he hit 302. Otherwise, he hit 263 with the Rays in 2019. He hit 264 with the Rangers in 21, 262 in 2023, 265 in 2024. I think Nate Lowe has shown us what he is. He's a 260s hitter, a guy that hits around 15, 16 home runs a year. 2022 was the anomaly where he hit 27 and he had 76 RBI. But I think by and large, we know what we're getting from Nate Lowe. You're getting 260s batting average, 80 RBI, and you're maybe going to get 20 home runs. I really don't think you can expect a whole lot more. Would I be absolutely beside myself if he actually hit 25 bombs, 100 RBI? I know he hit 27 in 2022, but you know what I mean. If he could turn into that kind of guy, yeah, that'd be awesome. He's 5 years in to playing in the big leagues and still hasn't even gotten close to 100 RBI. So I don't know. For me, I think I could go either way with Nate Lowe, but I think that the Rangers will stick it out with him. Suarez, you have from the Diamondbacks, Eugenio Suarez. I think he's definitely a guy you can consider, but where are you going to play him? I mean, third base is Josh Young. DH could be a spot, but I don't know. I don't know what the Rangers are going to be looking for in their bench. I can imagine they still are going to value guys that can play multiple positions. We'll see what happens. I think the Seager to first base talk is not going to happen next year, so it might be a little bit of a moot point conversation. but I do think that will be the plan eventually. You know what I'm really interested in talking about? Josh Smith. What are they going to do with Josh Smith next year? I am very interested to see. Josh Smith finishes out his season with a 258 batting average, and he did not have a great ending to the 2024 season. Josh Smith's last 15 games, 206 batting average, 16 strikeouts, 2 walks. The last 30 games, 231 batting average, 28 strikeouts, and 1 home run, 11 RBI. And that's Josh Smith hitting in a very good RBI spot in the lineup. I think what you saw from Josh Smith was a great beginning to the year, and you saw a lot of regression. I think Josh Smith hit that wall, hit that plateau, and regressed back to the kind of player that most of us thought Josh Smith was going into this season, which is a nice bench piece. I would be really surprised if the Rangers come back with Josh Smith in the starting lineup next year. Really, you would be even more shocked if the Rangers try and trot him into the top of the lineup next year. I just don't think Josh Smith had a strong enough ending to this campaign to even be in the question for a starting spot. Feel free to disagree, Rangers fans. Feel free. I just don't think Josh Smith did enough. I think he is going to go back to the bench, and I think the Rangers would be wise to go pick up a DH type player. I mean, whoever that is, I don't know. Could it be a Suarez? Maybe. I'd love it to be Santander from Baltimore. I would just think that the Rangers would probably be in their best interest to move on from the Josh Smith top of the order experiment. He was a big part, John, totally agree. He was a big part of keeping us afloat at the beginning of the year. But I think, unfortunately for Josh Smith, this is a what have you done for me lately league. And I don't think the Rangers are going to be making decisions about Josh Smith based on him helping the team stay afloat at the beginning of 2024. I know that there's a lot of Rangers fans, diehards, that are very loyal to players, to the team. And a lot of people I know feel Josh Smith deserves a lot more credit. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm not saying that he deserves to have a starting spot in the lineup. I think Josh Smith, and I know, JJ, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. I'm seeing your comment on TikTok here. Yeah, Josh Smith, I think, has to be either a bench piece or a guy that you consider trading. I don't know what Josh Smith's value would be. So that's going to be something for CY to determine. You know that he's doing those kinds of things right now. What can I get for Leody Taveras? What can I get for Josh Smith? I don't know who else. What can I get for Adolis Garcia? Look, it would be, again, I use this expression a lot. It would be criminal if CY wasn't exploring these options. I know that when stuff leaks and gets out, we all say to ourselves, how could he do that? How could he explore a trade for Adolis Garcia? Look, it's his job. And why wouldn't you? You have to see everything that's on the table in the offseason. So I say go see what you can get for Adolis. Doesn't mean you have to trade him, but see what you can get for these guys. If somebody wants to give you a king's ransom for Adolis Garcia, take the deal, please. Please. So Josh Smith, same thing. Leody Taveras, same thing. Yeah, it was after the All-Star break that Smith really dropped off. He had a few nice moments. The walk-off against Houston comes to mind, right? The walk-off in Arlington against Houston in that last series against the Astros. Josh Smith gave us a lot of great moments. This is not a Josh Smith disrespect hate session right now. It's not. But let's be real. We don't want Josh Smith hitting at the top of the order next year. You could upgrade. If they don't upgrade, I still say Josh Smith is not a guy you want hitting at the top of the order. Ideally, next year, you want, in no particular order, but it'll probably start feeling like that eventually, you want Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford. You want Josh Young. And I think in an ideal world, you want Evan Carter. You want Evan Carter to return back to 2023 form and be a guy in your top 5. Maybe Nate Lowe. I think it's Carter, Nate Lowe, 5, 6. I don't think Josh Smith needs to be up at the top of the order anymore, even if they do not upgrade any position in the 2024-5 offseason. My top 5, and again, in no particular order: Simeon, Seager, Langford, Young, and then Carter or Lowe. And hopefully they add somebody else. Like I said, a Santander would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. I think that they've got to go out and get other players and make this roster better. You've heard me say that so often. Am I going to be shocked if they don't make a ton of splashes? No, I'm not going to be shocked at all. At all. But I hope to be wrong. I hope that they will go out and make some big splashes. I think Santander would be a great one. I don't think they're going to be in the Soto sweepstakes at all. But we talked, there's a few solid outfielders, solid infielders that you could go out and maybe use as a DH and a guy that can give some breaks to guys out in the field here and there. Look, I've said, Vortex, I know you brought up O'Neill before. I'm not a big fan of the Rangers going out and getting all or nothing guys. I do feel like, if you're talking about Tyler O'Neill, I do feel like we have to be careful going out and getting more Adolis Garcias, for lack of a better expression. I don't want to go out and get a guy that is big hit or strikeout. Big hit or strikeout. I don't want to have more of those types of guys. We've already got enough of those players, I think, on the roster. So for me, I want a guy with an emphasis on contact, an emphasis on plate vision, a guy that can take walks, a guy that doesn't have a disproportionate strikeout to walk ratio. And no, I'm not talking about pitchers. I'm talking about hitters. I don't want a guy that takes 2 walks and strikes out 20 times over the course of 15 games. Those aren't the types of players that I would like to see the Rangers go after in the offseason. I want guys that take walks, get on base, great, a little pop, fine, but guys that put the ball in play. That was one of the killers this year, is we had a lot of guys that whiffed this season, a lot of swing and misses, and the pop-ups were a killer notoriously as well. Guys trying to launch the ball instead of just putting the ball in play. So, look, there's a number of guys that they could go after. I would prefer that we go out and get guys that are going to put the ball in play more often than not and are going to take walks, going to get on base. Nate Lowe finishing with a 365 OBP. We need more of that. And Nate Lowe's numbers at the end of 2024, dude was taking just about as many walks as he was striking out. That's huge. I will take that all day long. We'll keep going here. Yeah, 6 guys. I think this works out. 6 guys, excuse me, with 110 plus strikeouts. I know that Adolis was at like 160 plus. And there's a few guys that were over 150. I think there were a couple of them. It's too much. I am not, but it's all about what you prefer. Like, what's your philosophy? What do you want the Rangers to look like? I'll sacrifice some of the big hits for guys that put the ball in play consistently. It's just my preferred style of ball. I know that some people are totally okay with the strikeouts if you can give me 30 to 40 home runs. Personally, just what I prefer, the ball in play. Less strikeouts, more action. Yes, the big hit's great, but when you're not getting the big hit, which the Rangers, it was a problem for them in 2024. How often did I get on the show, those of you that have been listening for a long time, how often did I get on the show and say, big hit just completely eluded the Rangers tonight? I said that so many times over the course of this summer, y'all. Well, the big hit eluded the Rangers. They were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. And if you can just get a guy that puts the ball in play, that's going to improve, and that's going to get better over the course of a 162-game season. But the strikeouts, the pop-ups, in big moments, there's so many times where that happened this year for the Rangers. So many times. Vortex Vibes, you were reading my mind because I was just thinking about who are the guys that we have in the lineup right now that did not strike out a ton this year, and Kelly did come to my mind. So look, you multiply about 500-600 ABs is typical. You maybe say Kelly starts striking out a little bit over that 100 mark if he gets a full season of ABs. But Kelly only, 55 strikeouts in 281 at-bats. Look, that probably averages to 100 strikeouts as well if we're just doing the math and the ratios there. But Nate Lowe, a guy that I definitely like from a contact perspective. Ideally, you want your first baseman to have a little bit more power, but I'll take a guy like Nate Lowe over guys that are going to either strike out or pop up or get a big hit. Just me, just my preferred style of ball. Let me keep going here. We'll keep going through the box score, and I'll continue to take all y'all's comments here. Aaron, I like the enthusiasm. Aaron says, for all y'all on TikTok that can't see the comments from Facebook and YouTube and X, Instagram, all those. Aaron says, all I'm saying is 2025 world champs. I'm calling it right now. Hey, I like it. I like the positivity. I really do. I don't know. I think back to the playoffs, for sure, back to the playoffs. World champs, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready yet, Aaron, but let me see what the team does in free agency. Let me see what the team does with trades. And then I'll give y'all a more realistic prediction as it gets a little closer. But I think the Rangers make it back to the postseason in 2025. I really do. I really do. Let me keep on going. JJ says, to sum up the 2024 season, the offense was inconsistent. Pitchers didn't get much run support. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Andrew Heaney, especially. Andrew Heaney got very little run support. I'm glad that they bailed out Andrew Heaney last night. We didn't get to talk about Andrew Heaney because I didn't do a live last night. But Andrew Heaney, can we just give the man his flowers? I mean, look, I still continue to see negativity about Andrew Heaney on Facebook pages, Reddits, you name it. A lot of Rangers fans, it feels like, I don't know, maybe not on this show, but it feels like a lot of people are negative about Andrew Heaney and Rangers Nation. Maybe not the real ones. I don't know. I don't want to overgeneralize, but I continue to see Andrew Heaney hate on my timeline, on my feed, and I just don't get it. Like, Andrew Heaney was never supposed to be an ace. He was never supposed to be a guy that had a sub-3 ERA, 200 innings, 200 strikeouts. That was never Andrew Heaney. That was never the plan for him. So Andrew Heaney finishing with an ERA around 4, whatever it ended up being, like 4.25, for a 4th or 5th starter, that's fine. Like, I don't even understand what people were expecting Andrew Heaney to do this year. The Rangers never expected Andrew Heaney to be a 1-2 starter. And at some points this year, Andrew Heaney was our probably most reliable pitcher. I mean, the dude didn't go on the injured list once. And every game he went out there, you felt like you had a chance to win. I mean, clearly not everybody in Rangers Nation felt that way, but every time Andrew Heaney pitched, I thought to myself, we got a shot. Like, he's going to go 5-6 innings and give up 3 or 4 earned runs. There's nothing wrong with that. So I just never understood the Andrew Heaney hate. Never understood it. I'm going to miss that dude next year. Give the man his flowers. Give the man his flowers. He is going to go to another team next year, probably get a nice multi-year contract, and he should. And he should. I would really like to see Andrew Heaney go get a $15 million a year deal, maybe a 3-year deal, 3-year, $45 million. I would love to see Andrew Heaney go and get something like that. It makes me, I mean, look, I know it. What does it matter what my thoughts, what my feelings are on it? But it's depressing to me that some people aren't giving this man a good send-off in Rangers Nation. Some people totally have the don't let the door hit you on the way out mentality when it comes to Andrew Heaney. I just couldn't understand it any less. I mean, look, Andrew Heaney definitely is not a 1-2 ace, but as a 4th or 5th starter, which you were paying him to be. Andrew Heaney was a 4th or 5th innings eater starter for the Rangers, and I think you got exactly that out of him. He did his job. He didn't go above and beyond, but Andrew Heaney did his job this year. He stayed healthy, he ate up innings, and he gave the Rangers a chance to win more often than not. The Rangers offense was terrible when Andrew Heaney pitched. Terrible. I'm going to miss Andrew Heaney next year. You need guys like him in your rotation. Innings eaters that stay healthy. Dude wasn't on the IL one time this year. How many other Rangers pitchers can say that? How many other Rangers pitchers can say that? I mean, I can't think of a ton. Some of the guys in the bullpen, yes. Starting pitching, no. I can hardly think of anybody. Did Mike Lorenzen, when he pitched for us, did he stay off the injured list? I mean, asking the question. I think maybe Mike Lorenzen stayed off the injured list. Dunning didn't. John Gray didn't. Cody Bradford didn't. Evo didn't. Of course, DeGrom didn't. I think Leiter stayed healthy the whole year, but he was up and down. Andrew Heaney was one of the only starting pitchers this year to stay healthy. That's huge. Huge. Gonna miss that dude next year. Keep on going here. Keep on going. John says, putting the ball in play, getting the people over to second or third. Basically, we're talking about small ball. We're talking about small ball here. Lack of small ball, stealing bases was huge. And we couldn't throw out anybody. Jonah Heim and the pitching staff, Carson Kelly as well, pretty abysmal when it came to throwing out runners. I was blaming the pitchers at first, but I don't know how you can't blame the catchers at all. I think the pitchers definitely could have done a better job keeping guys close, but the catchers were not good with pop times and throwing guys out either. That has to get better. Has to get better for next year. And I agree. The Rangers have to steal more bases. Have to steal more bases next year. They've got guys that are fast. That's what kills me. You've got Evan Carter, fast. I know he was injured most of the year, but they weren't stealing Evan Carter left and right, even when he was healthy. You got Wyatt Langford, one of the fastest guys in MLB. Leody Taveras, one of the fastest guys in MLB. We talked about this. The Rangers had like 4 guys in the top 15 fastest in Major League Baseball, but they're nowhere close to the top in steals. And we've talked on the show, you know that stealing bases is more than just raw speed. But if you've got that much raw speed, tap into it. So I would like to see the Rangers do all these things better in 2025. Small ball, putting the ball in play, stealing bases, throwing out base runners. For sure. I hope Aaron's right as well. Let's go Rangers. Appreciate the comment. I sure do hope that's true. 2025 World Series chance, that is. That was Aaron's comment. I know. It's sad. Season over. Look, in some ways, I'm glad that the season has come to an end. The Rangers finished it strong, but we're not going to be gone for long. We'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll cover some Rangers stuff. We'll talk more Rangers baseball. We'll also talk some postseason baseball as well. I mean, all y'all know, we got to go out and get some Royals gear, at least cheer on the Royals in the postseason against the Astros. So we'll be back on Wednesday, hopefully with the Royals, like with the one or 2 game lead. Actually, 2 game lead would mean series over. So I don't know what the MLB postseason schedule is yet. Let me see if I can pull it up. But we'll definitely be back to talk Royals, Astros. We'll talk Rangers stuff as well. Look, I don't want this podcast to turn into an Astros hate fest. I mean, sometimes it takes that turn and it is what it is. Just being totally real with you guys, but we'll definitely cover some postseason ball. And we'll talk Rangers stuff as well. And like I said, I have a couple of other fun segments that I have planned for the offseason too. So come back every Wednesday. We'll be back this coming Wednesday to talk more Rangers baseball. So it won't be every day anymore, but we'll be back each Wednesday. Won't be gone too long. By the way, looks like Royals and Astros play on Tuesday. Royals and Astros play on Tuesday, and then they also play on Wednesday. That works out perfect. Hopefully, on Wednesday night, we can all be celebrating a Royals series victory, since those first wild card series are first 1 to 2 games. So I surely hope that on Wednesday night, when I get back on this pod, we can talking about the Kansas City Royals advancing to the next round of the playoffs. Sure would love to see that. Keep going here. Natalie says, I figured out why Wyatt's arm slot is low. Catches an infielder slot. Yeah, definitely. If you're an infielder, an outfielder, you have a different arm slot. Infielders are not coming over the top because it takes longer. Catcher, same thing. Yeah, in the outfield, you have to, I think, in order to be successful consistently, you have to have more of an over-the-top arm slot. Now, some guys can still pull it off because they just have a rocket for an arm. And Wyatt did have a nice throw today to gun out a runner at home plate. But I do think you could raise the arm slot a little bit for Wyatt. You would get a little bit less overthrowing. We've seen Wyatt sail baseballs. A lot of that can come from throwing more from a 3/4 arm slot. I think I would love to see them work with Wyatt this offseason, going more over the top. I think he's got a decent arm. I don't think it's like a bad arm out there. You don't have to have a gun out there in left field, but I do think that you have got to come more over the top if you're playing outfield. And I would like to see Wyatt Langford improve the arm slot a little bit, prevent the overthrows, throw the ball a little bit more on a line, whether you get it right in the glove or you one-hop it. There's a couple of things I think Wyatt could continue to get better at defensively. You're seeing the maturation from an offensive perspective. I would love to see Wyatt continue to improve the defense. Let me keep going here. Texas Rangers fans only, what's good? Thanks for tuning in. If you're still around, yeah, I love the combo as well. Definitely love supporting the military, the armed forces, any chances I can get. Family members of mine have served in the military. My brother, my dad served in the armed forces for a time as well. So big military supporter. Love all of the salute to service stuff the NFL does. And I love what MLB does with it as well. So appreciate that. Yeah, let me keep going here. I'm not sure 100% what this refers to. I know sometimes I'm bad on the comments, but I'll see if I can figure it out. It won't change next season. Bochy is not a small ball manager. Okay, we're talking about like small ball stuff. And we don't have guys who can bunt and steal at ease. That won't change within one season and not on a Will Venable, Bruce Bochy-led squad. Now, let me see if I'm right or wrong here. I'm just going to think this through in my mind on the fly. It felt like, maybe I'm wrong, it felt like those Giants teams in the 2010s could do the small ball stuff. Am I just totally brain cramping on that? Or just misremembering, as Roger Clemens would say? Am I just misremembering that? I thought that the Giants in the 2010s could do the small ball stuff a little bit. I mean, I know they had some guys that could hit, but it felt like those 2010s Giants played a little bit of small ball. Were contact, scrappy hitters that put the ball in play more often than not. I mean, look, I'd have to go back and do a deep dive. I'm just going off my memory here. It doesn't feel like those 2010s Giants teams were just mashing nothing but home runs or striking out. Felt like that those 2010s Giants World Series teams were putting the ball in play, getting big hits. And when I say big hits, just singles, doubles. Wasn't like a home run per se. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the comment that Bruce Bochy has never done the small ball thing or isn't a small ball manager. I feel like those 2010s Giants teams were scrappy. Like they put the ball in play. They made the defense work. They weren't just a strikeout or home run kind of guy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is more fair. In 2010, he coached to his team's advantages. Okay. I think that might be a fair, like, compromise middle ground here. But Bochy, by and large, I think definitely over the last, 5-10 years, yeah, I think maybe you could say the players that Bochy has right now, Corey Seager, you got some other guys. Marcus Semien was a 40 home run guy a few years ago. You got to play to your team's strengths, no doubt. And look, I'm not saying you do a total revamp. I'm not saying that you turn this whole team into contact hitters. I am saying if you're looking at guys to acquire, do we have to go get Adolis Garcia 2.0? Can we go get a guy that knows how to put the ball in play, has a little pop? There's some guys out there like that. So I don't think they need to revamp the entire team to a small ball, put the ball in play mentality. But I'm just talking about free agents. Do we have to go get a guy that either strikes out or hits a home run? I mean, I know that's oversimplifying it, but that's more of my comment. I don't think you're going to change this whole team dynamic. I do think that you can acquire some players that help balance it out a little bit. So that way, when the team is struggling, when the bats are struggling to get the big hits, the home runs, the balls in the gap, you've still got guys that are going to challenge pitchers and put the ball in play more often than not. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that you're going to shift the entire team's philosophy in one offseason. I do think you can go out and acquire some players that are going to help you not to fall into those valleys, not to fall into those deep slumps. And guys that put the ball in play consistently versus strike out, or guys that can walk and put the ball in play consistently versus strike out. I think that those are the players that I would prefer the Rangers to target. We'll see what happens. And we're going to do a deep dive into the positions of need. We're going to do a deep dive into who I'd like to see the Rangers pick up in free agency. We'll have to see what happens. A guy, by the way, that we talked about a little bit. I don't think the Rangers are going to be in the market, but Paul Goldschmidt getting released at the end of this year. The Cardinals are going to part ways with him. That would be, I think, an interesting move. Now, Goldie might be a little washed up, but could you bring in a Goldschmidt type to come in and DH? Maybe if Nate Lowe is struggling like he was at the beginning of this season, is that a guy that you could plug in for Nate Lowe? I don't know. It just depends on whether you think Goldie is totally washed or not. But I think Goldie could be one of those guys, new team, new change of scenery. You never know. You never know. Let's look at the numbers real quick, and then I'll get back on track here. And I know a couple of us have a affinity for the Cardinals. I think some of y'all know I grew up in St. Louis first about 10 or 11 years of my life before I moved to Texas, lived there for a number of years before moving out here to Las Vegas. But Paul Goldschmidt, the numbers on him, let's see here if we can get a decent feel for the last couple of years. So Goldie in his career, we've got a pretty bad 2024, right? 244 average. I mean, look, 300 OBP, that's not ideal. 2023, 268, 363 OBP. 2022, 317, 404. Look, so basically what I'm seeing is a slightly down year. I think the Rangers, that could be a dude that you go and take a look at. Paul Goldschmidt. That's a DH guy. That's a guy that could play first base. Nate Lowe, obviously, maybe would get the lion's share. First base, Gold Glove, Nate Lowe. Right behind me, right? Did y'all notice this, by the way? One of my buddies got me this bobblehead when it was Nate Lowe bobblehead night. Brought it all the way out here to Vegas on a trip. So shout out to my friend Pat. Real thoughtful gift. But yeah, Nate Lowe, first base, Gold Glove. I think Goldschmidt could be a prime DH candidate. Aaron, I disagree with you. I think you saw one bad season. One bad season doesn't mean he is not a great hitter anymore. 2023, he hit 270, was the 363 OBP. Managed to hit 244. I don't know. I'm a little bit different maybe than some, but I think guys can have one bad year. Goldschmidt finished with a better average than Marcus Semien. Do we think Marcus is done being a great hitter? I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty hesitant to say guys are done being great hitters when they have one bad season. And I really think looking at the numbers from Goldschmidt, it's one bad year, one down year, and maybe a change of scenery, a new hitting coach does the trick. So perhaps agree to disagree on that one. I think if you say Goldschmidt's done being a great hitter, you got to say Marcus Semion's done being a great hitter. And I think Marcus Semion's a pretty prime candidate for a bounce back. So just me, but we'll see what happens. I don't know what the Rangers are going to be in the market for, what they're going to be able to afford. We'll see what happens with this new streaming idea that they have. Rangers looks like are going to be trying to take over broadcasting their own games, which is great. You can control some of the cash flow. You can control some of the advertising. Hopefully it goes well for them and allows them to spend a little bit of money in the offseason. All right, let's keep going. So we went through most of the lineup. I think that it would be a good thing to take a look at the pitchers here. Evo, glad to see him finish strong. I think he's got to be priority number one in free agency. Re-sign Nate Eovaldi. You need that guy in October. You need him in the postseason. Did he have an outstanding year from a numbers perspective? Did he have like a 1-2 ace type year? No. 3.80 ERA. He was a little bit down this year, I think, in the regular season. 12-8. But look, Evo can do what he did today any game. 7 innings, 4 hits, 5 Ks. He finishes with a 3.80 ERA on the season. I think he's got to be the number one priority in free agency. Good to see him finish on a positive note. Evo had a few of his last starts not go awesome. And I kind of said, I wonder where the focus is. It's hard. These games in September that don't really matter. But Evo came out today, wanted the ball. I love that. Wanted the ball. And he went out and pitched 7 shutout innings, gave the Rangers a great chance to win this game. And the offense came to life as well. Jose Leclerc, he finishes with a 4.32 ERA, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. Clean inning for Jose Leclerc. We gave him such a hard time, allergic to the clean inning, but not lately. Jose Leclerc, in his last 15 games, 2.57 ERA. This is the kind of Leclerc that, played very well in the postseason for the Rangers, saved the Jose Altuve home run. This is the positive, the upside, the potential with a guy like Leclerc. But I do wonder if Leclerc has pitched his last inning for the Rangers. I don't think that the Rangers are going to have Leclerc back. If they do, I don't think it's the worst move. I know a lot of people would like to see Leclerc gone. I don't think it's the worst move. I think that they could do worse than Jose Leclerc, but I absolutely understand wanting to move on from him. He has had his ups and downs, but he did finish 2024 on a very strong note. I definitely think that there is a place for him in Major League Baseball. If the Rangers don't sign him, somebody's going to take a flyer on him. David Robertson, mutual option. Rangers and Robertson would both have to agree. Robertson finishes his last 7 games with a 1.29 ERA. ERA on the season, of course, was, I believe, let me see here. Tracking. Hang on. 3 even. 3 even for the ERA for David Robertson. I believe he had 34, 35 holds. Good as a save, really. That's a pretty solid number for a guy that is, 39 years old? Pretty solid. So David Robertson, hopefully the Rangers can either work out an alternative with Robertson, since they both have the mutual option, or hopefully they can agree on that mutual option as it is. But I think the Rangers have a pretty good shot to keep David Robertson. Again, you have that advantage with the club option, with the player option. The mutual option kind of allows you to, okay, if the number isn't perfect with the mutual option, maybe we can work something else out. I think that's the beauty of it. So we'll see. Maybe David Robertson and the Rangers get a little pay bump worked out. Maybe they don't. But I have heard that David Robertson likes It likes his time in Texas, enjoys being here. So I would really like to see them work out something with Robertson and Kirby Yates. Same thing. I think Kirby Yates is absolutely a guy that is going to be a huge addition if we can bring him back. But I do wonder, is he going to be looking for that big payday? Is he going to be looking perhaps to go to a team with a better shot at winning? I don't think that the Rangers are not going to be competitive in 2025, but after the season that they just had, I can't blame Kirby Yates for doubting it, but I don't feel that way. I hope the Rangers can keep this tandem intact. Like I said on Friday night, it's a shame that we're not able to see this duo in October. We deserve to see this duo in October. They deserve to get to pitch in October with the season that they had. So I hope that the Rangers can find a way. Kirby Yates, David Robertson. The Rangers would be wise, I think, to get it done, but I think that they are going to have their ceiling on a price point for both of those players. We'll see what other teams will be willing to pay them, but behind Evo, I'd like to see David Robertson and Kirby Yates be prioritized in free agency in terms of the guys that we have that are on the expiring deals. We'll keep going here. So we also, I think, would be wise to go through a couple of the other names. So bottom of the order, Jankowski. Think we might have seen Travis Jankowski's last season, last plate appearance with the Rangers. I think Travis is a great guy to have in the clubhouse, a great guy to have off the bench. I do kind of think with the young guys coming up, you have Harris, you have Fabian. There's a couple other dudes down at AA that are pretty legit as well. You drafted a couple of outfielders. I really think that Jankowski is going to be on the outside looking in. I really don't know how you re-sign him and allow him to take a roster spot away from one of the young guys. So I think we've seen Travis Jankowski, El Blondie, last at bat in a Rangers uniform. Stranger things, though, right? Stranger things have happened. I mean, we had Robbie Grossman come back. Who knows? Maybe Travis Jankowski finds his way back some way, somehow, but I'm doubting it with the plethora of outfielders that the Rangers have and blossoming outfielders at that too. So Travis Jankowski, love everything that he did for us last year. I mean, who could forget Travis Jankowski, World Series, stepping in for Adolis Garcia and performing. Travis Jankowski didn't just go 0 for the entire World Series. The dude hit and contributed in the World Series when Adolis Garcia went down. So Travis Jankowski, you've got all my respect. Give that man his flowers, as we like to say. And definitely looking back, we'll always look back on the memories of him on this team very fondly. Just don't think it's going to be in the cards for him to return. Just when you look at all the outfielders the Rangers have and who they might bring in, I think he's going to be the odd man out. Harris, we already talked through him. Spring training invite next year. If he tears it up, I could see him potentially making opening day roster. Probably will depend on if they add an outfielder in free agency, but I think Harris is a guy that's going to get a chance at spring training. If he has a Wyatt Langford-esque spring training, maybe he'll end up making that roster, being a 4th or 5th outfielder. That'd be great. I'm very curious to see what they do with Leody Taveras, 229 this year. I would like to see Leody not be the guy any longer at center field in 2025. Don't know what the Rangers' plans are for him, but I personally am done with the Leody experiment. He's had some great plays, great moments for the Rangers, but I think that I'm ready for them to pursue another option as an everyday center fielder. Don't want to see Leody get trotted out as a 150-plus game guy next year. I think the Rangers could upgrade and do better. Ezekiel Duran. Yeah, man, a guy I think they should have traded twice at the trade deadline this summer and last summer, but still with the club. Actually was a little surprised that Zeke continued to get ABs. Maybe the club just doing their due diligence, trying to get as big of a sample size as possible to make a final decision on him. Another guy, I just don't know where he fits. Maybe as the super utility guy, but you already kind of have that in Josh Smith. I don't think Josh Smith is going to be a starter. I don't think Josh Smith is going to be in the lineup every day. So you've already kind of got super utility Josh Smith. I don't really know if you need another guy in Zeke Duran, but we'll see. I don't know how Foscue is going to progress, but if you've got Foscue, Duran, and you've got Josh Smith, that feels like too much of the same to me. Too much of the same. I'd like to see them move on from some of these guys in the offseason. Duran, maybe Leote. I'm sure they're listening on Adolis. I don't know why you would make Adolis untouchable if you're CY. We'll see what they decide to do. We'll see what they decide to do. I'm not sure what is going to be the plan with some of these bench guys, but for me, it's too much of guys on the bench that really aren't going to contribute. I would like to see the bench be a point of emphasis in the offseason, something that the Rangers strengthen. We'll keep going here. We're going a little bit long today, but we're going to start wrapping things up. Rangers, disappointing 2024, but I think 2025 is bright. You've got DeGrom, full season of health. Josh Young, full season. Evan Carter, hopefully. Wyatt Langford, full season, getting better. I think Tyler Mahle as well in the rotation, another guy you're going to have for a full season. A lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to. I'm going to transition slightly and talk a little bit of Texas Longhorns. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk more Rangers. If there's anything of note to talk about in the offseason, we'll talk about it on those Wednesdays. If something huge happens, we'll go live and make sure that we cover it with you guys, give you a rapid, that live reaction. Again, big free agent signing, big trade. Somebody gets DFA to released. We'll be here to cover it. But Wednesday is going to be our consistent day to do the Rangers offseason pod. So join us on Wednesdays. I would greatly appreciate if you would. And hopefully there'll be some fun things to talk about in this offseason, along with a few other good bits that I've got planned for our Wednesday offseason pod. So hopefully, again, Royals can get a couple of wins over the Astros in the first round. They play Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be watching that. Go Kansas City over Houston. Wednesday night could be a celebratory night for us here at Right on Rangers if the Astros can get knocked out in the first two games. 3-game set, though, or first one, 3-game set, first 1 to 2 games. We'll see what happens. Quick question here from Aaron. Who of the 3 NL wildcard contenders remaining do I think will be the odd man out? Not sure on that one. Let me see here. Are you talking about who I think is going to get knocked out in the first round? I thought that all the playoff matchups were set, so that's why I asked. But I think, personally, I think the Padres are probably going to be advancing. I think that other than them, not really completely sure. It's, to me, quite a bit of a toss-up. I'd like to see the Padres and Diamondbacks advance. I know that let's see here, the Brewers are going to be playing in the wild card round, so it'll be Brewers versus the Mets and then Padres-Braves. That'll be a good series, Padres-Braves. But I think it's going to be Braves getting eliminated, and I think I'm going to go Padres and I'm going to go Brewers advancing. I know the Brewers aren't technically a wild card team, but I think Brewers over the Mets and then Padres over the Braves. I believe that's the matchup. Or are they still playing tonight to determine? Looks like they have to play tomorrow to determine it. Wow, that'll be a pretty big game. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Either way, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I see what you mean. That NL race is coming down to tomorrow. Got it. Diamondbacks won, so they're 89-73. And then you've got the Mets and Braves still with 2 games to play apiece. Shoot, I don't know. That one's going to be tough. I'd like to see the Diamondbacks. And the Padres. Don't really care about Braves or Mets. We'll see what happens. We will see. All right, y'all. Going to move on. Longhorns yesterday, slow start, but they get the job done 35-13 over Mississippi State. Look, with Arch Manning running the show, he had a pretty nice game from a stats perspective. Still feels like they're still a little bit not fully in sync with Manning running the offense. I think when Quinn Ewers comes back, you're going to continue to see Texas play at a high level. I mean, that's the guy. Quinn Ewers, one of the best players in college football this year, going to probably be a first-round pick, maybe the first quarterback taken overall. I think not having Quinn Ewers, you're really not surprised that the offense struggles a little bit. But look, you're going into the bye week. You didn't want to play Quinn this week if you could help it. The Mississippi State Bulldogs are not a good team. And if there was any way that you could give Quinn a few extra weeks of rest, you were going to do it. So Arch finishes with 324, only 5 incompletions, 324 yards, two touchdowns, no interceptions. But at the same time, again, I feel like you didn't see the Longhorns really hit an awesome stride until the second half. And I think with Arch running it, without having received all the first team reps, I think it's to be something that you count on. Wisner had a nice game, 88 yards. Moore had an outstanding game. Wide receiver, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Bond had, I believe, 100 yards between the ground and through the air as well. 74 receiving, 26 on the ground with a rushing touchdown as well. That was a 26-yard scamper in the second half. And then also, I think if you look at the defense, Benda had 11 total tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Benda continues to be a force on the defensive side of things. Anthony Hill, he had, 7 total tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for losses. So great defense. No interceptions for the defense, but the defense continues to play at a really, really high level. The touchdown that they gave up was late in the fourth quarter. So defense still playing really well. Jaden Blue, 2 fumbles, not ideal for him. I think that's why you saw Wisner start to take over. Not ideal for Jaden Blue, losing 2 fumbles. I'm sure Sark is not happy with him. Look, these are running backs that are getting an opportunity with the injuries that the Longhorns suffered in the offseason to their primary running backs. It's tough, but Jaden Blue and also we have Wisner. They've been running well. I think Gibson is another guy that's played well also. So I don't think that running back has been a weakness this year. 2 fumbles, 2 lost fumbles, not ideal. But the rush game had 198 yards on the ground. Hard to complain about that. So for anybody kind of starting to, try and chip that armor a little bit, the number 1 Texas Longhorns armor, you didn't have your starting quarterback and you still won by 20-plus points. I don't know. I don't think there's much to think about here. And you have to consider, too, there was a huge drop. I believe Wingo in the first half had a huge drop. This easily could have been 42-13. And then it's really a big nothing burger. But I know some people, especially with Bama winning big, kind of already starting to try and chip away at that number 1 Texas Longhorns armor. We'll see. But I think the real test is going to obviously be Red River for the Horns after the bye week. And then Georgia at home. We'll see how the Longhorns stack up against Georgia. I think those are going to be 2 really great games. Look, if the Longhorns get 2 wins there, I think everybody should start believing in the national championship hype. But I'm not going to be surprised if the Horns go 1-1 in that 2-game stretch. You got a really emotional game against the Sooners. Then you've got another really, really big game against the Georgia Bulldogs, who are going to be hungry after losing, kind of getting embarrassed, honestly, against Alabama. I know that they come back and were leading by 1 in the fourth quarter, but it was embarrassing, 27-0 at one point. I think there's a lot of questions for Georgia right now. I do think they're going to be playing hard the rest of the season to avenge that loss and really solidify themselves up at the top. They already are. I think everybody believes Georgia's a pretty good team, but I think they're going to be playing even harder to try and get back on track and really prove themselves And the Longhorns, it's going to be a great opportunity to do that. So we'll see what the next couple of games hold. But the Longhorns bye week coming up, good chance to get Quinn Ewers fully healthy. And then you come to that Red River rivalry game, the shootout with the Sooners before you head back home to Austin to face the Georgia Bulldogs. My prediction, I think that they'll win Red River, but I'm not so sure about that Georgia game. I think had the Dogs beat Bama, I'd actually feel a little bit better about the Bulldogs. I think the loss is actually going to be even more motivating for Georgia. So when they face the Longhorns, they're going to be ready to go. I think that the Horns will beat the Sooners, but I'm a little bit unsure about that game against the Bulldogs. I need to see the Sooners game. Let me see how they play in Red River. And then after that, I'll make a prediction on the Georgia game. Quinn Ewers will be back. I think that's going to be a huge thing. We'll see how he looks against Oklahoma. But my prediction right now, I think the Horns will get the win. And I think it'll be double digits. I don't think it's going to come down to single digits against Oklahoma. I think that we will get a double-digit victory, whether that's 10 or 20, I don't know. But I think double-digit victory against the Sooners. It might be close at different points, but I think Texas ultimately gets the multiple possession victory in the Red River rivalry. In that shootout with the Sooners, we'll see what happens. All right, y'all. It's been an hour and 20. We've gone long enough. It's going to be a little different not having Rangers baseball every day, but it'll be fun watching October baseball. I'm excited about that. Go Royals. Hopefully they can get the job done against the Astros. And we'll be back every Wednesday to do a Texas Rangers off-season podcast talking about all the latest Texas Rangers news, transactions, free agency, trades, anything and everything. Rumors, hot stove stuff. We're all here for it. We'll talk a little bit of postseason baseball on each podcast as well. Go through the matchups and who's looking good, and we'll continue to refine our predictions. But I have got for the World Series the Orioles and the Dodgers, and I am going to say Dodgers win the World Series this year. Dodgers win the World Series. That's my prediction. Baltimore, if they win it, I won't be shocked, but I'm going Dodgers to win the World Series this year. I don't like making that pick. I'm not a Dodgers fan by any means, but that is what my gut tells me. My heart says, give me Royals. Give me Padres. Give me Diamondbacks. That's the heart. The head says Dodgers over the Orioles. We'll see what happens. But hope y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy some postseason baseball if you can. And I want to say another special thank you to everyone that supported the show this year during the Texas Rangers 2024 season. We'll be back strong in 2025 and every Wednesday this offseason to do our live podcast with you guys. Looking forward to a great 2025 and a great offseason for the Rangers. Hopefully chock full of some good quality acquisitions to help strengthen the team's chances to get back on track and make it back to October in 2025. Appreciate all you guys. If you don't know, if you know somebody that loves the Rangers, that loves baseball, send them my way. You know someone that loves college football, NFL, DFW sports, send them my way. Let's keep growing this good group of people we got talking sports. I love it. It's why I started this. And if you're not following the channel or subscribe to the account yourself, I would greatly appreciate if you hit that follow or subscribe button. Hit that notification bell or button as well. Stay notified every time we go live or put out our latest and greatest content. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week ahead. And as I always say to end every show, God bless.